Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Robbins, and welcome to Life, Death, and the Space Between. When I got the outreach for today's guest, I was over the moon excited. I have been watching his rise on Instagram, and it has been amazing in just a short period of time. Travis Holp is a sought-after medium. He's got his new book out, Are You There, Spirit? It's Me, Travis, which is an incredibly beautiful read about his journey into his mediumship and really stepping into his abilities, and also the amazing experiences he's had as a medium. Our talk today is fascinating because we talk about how he hears spirit, how he experiences spirit, but also the work of Dr. Jeff Tarrant, who you've heard on my show before, talking about looking at Travis's brainwaves. So Travis tells us what Jeff saw when he looked at his brainwaves that validated how Travis works. So just a fascinating conversation. We talk about spirituality, about psychology, about how important it is to weave those two pieces together to really live a meaningful, fulfilling, and whole life. You can't have one without the other. You can't spiritually bypass. Spirituality is so important to all of our growth and our work. And with that, I bring you today's episode with Travis Warrior Unicorn, as he is known on social media.
We need at our table of awareness the logician, but equally we need the intuitive, we need the mystic.
I almost died. I was allowed to go to the very precipice of death, of life and death, and look over the edge. And I was allowed to behold what was there and allowed to come back. Most people aren't.
When we talk about being aligned with ourself or being aligned with our soul or hearing our higher self, that's really what we're talking about, is being connected to that divine part of ourself, that light-filled part of us that is connected to God energy, that is connected to everybody here and every experience we've ever had.
If more doctors, more professionals can open up to use intuitive gifts in their work, that's really important.
Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Robbins, and welcome to Life, Death, and the Space Between. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and medium, and here we explore life, death, mediumship, near-death experiences, consciousness, and what it all means. Welcome, Travis, to Life, Death, and the Space Between.
Oh, Dr. Amy, I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
So first, I want to congratulate you because it just came across my email this week that you are a new certified Forever Family Foundation medium, which is a huge deal for people who don't know, or for people who've been following me for a while. And you know, I've had Bob Ginsberg on the show to talk about the work that he does there. But that is an amazing accomplishment to go through their rigor of getting certified and to come out a certified medium, because it's not, there's a lot of mediums that go through it that are good mediums, but that don't get certified. So Congrats.
Oh, thank you. It was such a wonder. I mean, I'm not going to lie. My nervous system was wrecked during the testing process, but I'm like a nervous test taker anyway. I had to take my driver's test like 3 times. I almost didn't pass it. I'm like, so like it was, I put this pressure on myself. I'm a Virgo. It's what we do. Like I just put this unnecessary pressure on myself, but it was so nice to just go through that process, especially because I have such a high regard for the foundation and what they do and what they stand for and their work in sharing the continuation of life beyond this physical experience. So it's such an honor. I'm still like giddy about it.
So if people don't know who you are, maybe they haven't been on TikTok or Instagram in the past 5 years, you literally blew up. You became a medium, like you didn't become a medium overnight, but like you showed up overnight and just hit a nerve with people that really resonated. So tell us a little bit about how you got to the point where you were ready to step out into this in really a very profound and fast way. I mean, you were on the path and took off like a bat out of hell.
And it wasn't like my intention to go be a medium. Like it really wasn't. I was in the beauty industry for 17 years. And in September of 2020, I'm like newly sober. I've been sober for a few months at this point. the company that I was working for, my plan was to be a vice president of sales with them. Like, I got into business school so I could like get my degree so I could be a VP of sales. Like, that's how like in it I was. And then I started manifesting, I wanted to be happy. I wanted time freedom. I wanted money freedom. And I'm thinking it's like a job in the beauty industry that I'm manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Spirit, as it does, was like, yeah, nope. So that's no longer the plan. And my role was eliminated like the week after kind of like manifesting. And I was like, what the heck is happening? And so my role was eliminated. I kind of floated around aimlessly for a few months. And then oddly timed enough, the first week of November, which is when my book is coming out 5 years later, I get on TikTok, I start reading tarot for people, and I'm so excited. I start reading tarot for people, and I was like, I'll just read tarot until I figure out what else I'm going to do. Like, no one will know. And then my account like starts blowing up. And I was very adamant when I first started. I was like, I'm not talking to dead people. I'm not doing any of that. Because that's something that I experienced for a good chunk of my life. And I was like, I'm not good enough to do that. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I to do that? I'm just going to read these cards. And the cards were a training wheel. And one day during a reading, someone's departed uncle comes through who I talk about in the book. And we have this profound connection. And during this session where I'm sharing messages from the spirit world, I, for the first time in my life, felt whole and complete and felt connected to my life. And so, 5 years later, here we are.
Right, which is amazing in 5 years that here we are with your new book. Are You There, Spirit? It's me, Travis, which I loved. And it's an incredible tale. It's a memoir woven in with stories of the people that you've worked with. But let's back up, because I'm curious. You always used initially tools to access spirit, but because it started for you with a Ouija board. And I was sort of chuckling as I was reading your book, because I remember sitting in like 6th grade with a Ouija board in my bedroom with a couple of girlfriends. Like, is this real? Is this not real? What's happening? Does he like me? Does he not like me? Right? Like, those were the questions that I asked my Ouija board back then. What were you always connected to spirit that you were aware of starting at a young age, or was this something that developed over time for you?
Looking back, I realize now, like looking back, I can connect all of the dots now, and the connection that was always there, that was always inherent within me. But at the time, I didn't know that I was different. It was like being gay, where one day I was like, oh my God, that's why I like to dance around to Britney Spears, and I like sequins and sparkles, and I make my family watch me do choreographed dances during holiday dinners. Like, that's
as my hairdresser once said to me, I always knew G.I. Joe was hot.
Yeah.
That was his like moment.
Yeah. Like, I always knew, I just didn't know. You know what I mean? And so it's like one day you just kind of put the pieces together. And when I came out as a medium, when I came out, like I've come out twice, once as a gay man and once.
Which was harder?
Both. I won't. They were just harder in different ways. Like when I came out as a gay person, my parents had an awful time with it, and I left home very early. I left home my senior year of high school. I worked in a gay bar to support myself. I was a drag queen / go-go dancer. Hey. And supported myself through high school. When I came out as a medium, they didn't have that reaction, but it was a lot. But coming out as a medium, I dealt with a lot more like public ridicule versus family. So
and
it's
sometimes people have families that don't believe in this stuff at all. And so they would disown them for that reason. I mean, there's like a lot of, there's a lot of, connecting with the devil and what that means that people are afraid of. So, okay. So you come out.
I come out twice. And then, I started telling people like, hey, this is something I do now. This is a part of me. And then that's when people are like, but it's kind of like being gay. Cause then people are like, oh yeah, I could see that because, we would get drunk together and you'd want to read my tarot cards. Like, or I have a friend that I reconnected with, and she was like, I remember in school when you got sent to detention because you brought tarot cards to class. And I was like, yeah. So
Interesting.
the pieces were always there.
Yeah, so it's interesting to think. Obviously, I always look at things through like a psychological lens because that's my training. But to think about like the shame you felt probably around being gay, but also the shame you felt because you were shamed around this other part of you that was able to connect, and how hard. I mean, you said like when you stepped into that space of doing it on Instagram, and the person's, was it their uncle that came through?
Yes.
For the first, was that Buck?
But you have such a good memory.
I read the book, man. I read the book.
Thank you for
I do
reading
it. When Buck came through I'm like such a student always. I always never want to show up unprepared for anything. When Buck came through for the first time, like you felt whole again because it was like, oh, this is who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. And that it felt very similar like when I came out, even though it was difficult to share and uncomfortable, it also just felt so right. And so when I came out and I really fully leaned into this, opportunities started showing up. The followers on social media just kind of, people ask me, they're like, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. I just started living into my truth. And all of these, and it's not about followers. I mean, they're nice to have, but it's really more so about, for me, sharing something that resonates with people. And that feels really good.
And what is that message? Because it's a different message than the message you thought it would be.
Yeah. The message for me is my mission is to help people live the life that their souls came here to live. And to be the fullest expression of who they are, because that's where real freedom is, in being yourself.
So it is beyond just connecting with your dead loved one.
Yeah. And that's part of it for sure. I think that's a piece of it. For me, it's that sharing the continuation of consciousness, that while, yes, we have this human life here, there's so much more beyond it. And we are these incredible beings that have the ability to create the life that we want to live, that we are able to experience so much here in this physical world. And so for me, communicating those messages from the other side, it's not necessarily just about, making peace with the past or connecting with our loved ones that are no longer in a physical body. It's how can I live the most fulfilling life I can live here with this information.
Right. And so this is the piece I love. And this is why I think that the therapy piece is so important. And you talk about this a lot in the book. And I love how you juxtapose, maybe not juxtapose, but how you talk holistically, I think, about both your healing from spirit, but also your traditional healing methods that you used, EMDR, traditional therapy, and how you incorporate those two pieces. How do you see those two pieces fitting together? Because I think this is the crux of where we need to be and where we need to head.
I think as humans, we're both here in a physical experience and this consciousness. And while, yes, I absolutely believe in the amazing, miraculous things that our souls can do for us, I also believe that those grounded practices that are very much here in this physical world are super important. Something for me that's always kind of stood out for me. So I'm a student of metaphysics. I study it. I love it. It's saved my life.
And you studied it before 2020? You were always studying it?
A little bit. I mean, I had The Secret. It was really like, I read The Secret. You know what I mean?
Oh,
but
okay.
I've always been, but the past few years and being this student of metaphysics and diving into my studies there, that's helped me so much even before I was connected into all of that. Because if you would have asked me, I don't know, 2025, 10 years ago, if I believed in manifestation, I would have told you were nuts. I'd be like, that's not real. You can't do that. I think I would have wanted to have believed it, but I wasn't there in my journey. But where I am now, I think, we have these amazing teachers and therapists and doctors that are doing soul-driven work here in the physical world. And it's important to pay attention to the physical things that are happening just as much as the energetic things, because it's both, not one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you can pray for wellness and go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can do both.
And you should do both, because I think it's like, why not harness the power of all of it rather than like thinking that just praying is going to be enough. Like, part of why I think, and you use these tools in your book, right? You used all the tools to continue to get healthier emotionally, because
and I
describe where you were.
Where I was, like, when I started going to
because
therapy.
you were drinking yourself into a stupor.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. I did. One day I woke up and I just
Your
decided
life was a disaster. Is that a better way of putting it?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I will say it wasn't my rock bottom, because I had certainly been in worse situations. It was just the place where I just got tired of my own shit, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I started therapy, I actually started therapy in August of 2019. So, like, before I kind of really dedicated my life to stop drinking and being of service, I had no idea why I was going to therapy. I just woke up one day and was like, I need therapy. And so I started going to therapy. And when I started therapy, I would just go trying to make my therapist laugh. Like, that was my goal. I was like, if I can make this man laugh, I'm doing great. Mm. And I didn't get serious about therapy until probably like spring of 2020 is when I started showing up, and I was like, I really am carrying a lot. Mm. And my therapist was like, great, I'm so glad we're here. Right. Let's talk about it.
So same therapist.
Same therapist. Michael he gives me permission to talk about him. Michael has been like I swear that man could build a new deck off of his house with the work that we've done together. But he's been my same therapist since 2019. He is just so great and such a valuable piece of my healing and my journey. Mm. And what I really loved is, like, when I came out to him as a medium, I was like, I was really nervous. I thought maybe I was going to hide it. I was like, maybe I just won't tell him about this part of my life, and we could just talk about other stuff. And when I got sober, I decided that I needed to be fully honest everywhere I went, because I spent so much time masking and hiding. Mm-hmm. And that's what was causing me pain.
Right. And that's such a big part of sobriety, of that healing, is the honesty and the authenticity.
It's been a while since I've talked to you about what I'm up to. I want to first start by thanking so many of my supporters who have supported me on Patreon and in my Circle community. What's so exciting now is we have my new Circle community up and running, where if you want to contribute to supporting the podcast, you can do so at different levels for different values. So head on over to my Circle group. You can actually find the link in the show notes below. And there's opportunities to continue to support the podcast. And I have to say, your support of the podcast is frankly what has kept this podcast going over time. I have been funding the podcast solely by myself. I get a little bit of money in advertising dollars, but not a lot. So anything that you can give, if you have found value in this podcast, and it's not just giving without anything back, I will give back to you. You will be a part of this community with opportunities for discounts and conversations and ask Amy anythings. But it's a great opportunity for you to support what hopefully has helped you over the many, many years. Also, there's so many other ways now that you can work with me. I am offering a group course called Live Your Life Backwards, which is finishing its first cohort this winter and has been absolutely incredible. There's retreats coming up. There's workshops. There's one-on-one sessions with me. So many options that we can work together. So make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed to my podcast, and make sure you're subscribed to my newsletter, where you will get a free soul wisdom workbook to help you dig deeper into the virtues that you want to be living in this lifetime. We all need so much more spirituality now. We are in a spiritual crisis, and I'm giving you so many tools to tap into your own spirituality. So check out, and don't forget to subscribe to Life, Death, and the Space Between so you never miss an episode.
Yeah. So I sit down with him, and I told him during one of our sessions, I was like, I've had this stuff happen to me since I was a kid, and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I talk to dead people and I do readings. And I just started doing readings. I just started doing readings. And he goes, That's amazing. Tell me about that.
Mm.
And it wasn't like this isn't real, you're wrong. He was very curious. And then he shared some experiences with me that he connected with connecting to the other side. And so it was just like so normal. It was just so normal to have that conversation with him.
See, all these closeted therapists who have these experiences too, and they don't share them. And what a powerful intervention for you. I mean, to be able to share this part of yourself, all parts of yourself, and allow it to be welcome there, which is what therapy should be. But I think often you can get these experiences can get shut down or minimized or dismissed, or you could be told that there are something else. I mean, it's in many ways, when we talk about coming out of the closet, right, there's all kinds of closets people come out of in their lives. And so, the spiritual closet is definitely one of them. I remember my first fear was I was going to lose all my patients. No one would come see me anymore because the doctors would stop referring to me if they knew that I could connect once in a while. It doesn't happen for me like it happens for you, but, and it's another part of who we are.
Yeah. And it's normal. Like this connecting to the things that we can't physically see, smell, taste, or touch. This is normal. This goes beyond just our current time. I mean, there are ancient stories of like shamans and psychics, oracles that would advise entire country leaders about wars. And I got to tell you something, they treated those oracles great. They paid for all their stuff. They were kept like real nice, like they were kept in really nice places. I think we should go back to that.
Right. I think those people should be preserved and protected because they
were treated like royalty.
Right.
Yes.
Until they weren't, right? Until they were witches and there were witch hunts and, people were burned at the stake for this.
Yes. And so, so this is not new. People being able to connect is not new.
So how do you connect? What is it? Everybody always wants to know like what it looks like for each person.
Yeah. So I can't explain to you why I do what I do. I can tell you what's happening though. So I had my brain scanned. I had an EEG done on my brain.
Jeff? Did Jeff do your brain scan?
By Dr. Jeffrey Tarrant. Yes, he did.
We love Jeff.
He was doing an Instagram live with Laura Lynn Jackson, who I also love. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to meet this guy. And I found out he lives in Oregon, which is 4 hours down the road from where I live. So I was like, let me just get in my car and go see you.
He's the nicest human being. Isn't he just like the nicest guy?
And so humble.
So humble. So
I could never.
Humble.
I could never. But he's...
I just saw he's actually on the telepathy tapes again next week. You're going to like blow up even more because he's on it with Laura Lynn Jackson and Bob.
Yes. I can't wait to hear that episode. I'm so excited. So what we found in my brain is that my brain operates between 7 and 8 hertz, which is like most people's brains operate, I think, between like 12 and 20 hertz. So my brain's moving a little bit slower. I was a 1.4 GPA student in high school. So like me explaining the science is like, but when I'm giving readings, my brain floods with very slow waves, delta waves. And if you don't know what a delta wave is, those are the waves we produce while we're sleeping. We're in deep sleep.
Right.
My brain just floods with them, like produces a ton of them. Like Jeff looked at my thing and he goes, I would think you were asleep if I was looking at this. And so there's like that very like real piece that's happening. And then the front right part of my brain, which is where I see and feel from, produces a ton of gamma waves, which are like very high frequency waves. So while I'm doing readings, like my brain is flooding with these delta waves, but then the front right part of my brain is flooding with gamma waves. So it's like it's keeping me conscious while also still receiving. It was the craziest thing to see because you go into those things like please, dear God, let something be happening.
Right. Like I know 95% of the time my brain would look like a normal brain. And then I don't know when I get it. Like sometimes I'll spontaneously get information. I have no idea how, no idea why.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just comes in.
Yeah. And so you're just like, oh my gosh, let there be something different that's happening. Let something be right. Cause then it's like, otherwise I'm just nuts. Right. And so, which probably is partially true.
Both things can be true at the same time.
I love that. I am here for the whole experience.
Right.
So that was really cool and really affirming to see. So that's what's happening. I see, hear, and feel. So,
okay.
So I will feel things like how the soul departed this earth. I'll feel the connection for the person that I'm giving messages to. I'll hear things like I'll hear things and I'll see things. So it's like little flashcards in my brain, you know, that'll pop up. Like I'll see like a blue jay, or I'll see like they use my frame of reference though. So I feel really bad for anybody who's like family members who are like sports people or car people. Cause I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, here's a baseball. Hope you can make sense of that. Give me obscure 90s pop divas and I've got you. Like,
oh my God.
And I can connect
amazing.
that, no problem.
Backstreet Boys coming through. Boys coming through.
Absolutely. Did your sister like to listen to No Scrubs all the time? You know, like that kind of thing. So,
well,
so,
and I love that because I actually think this is really important, is because spirit speaks to us in a language that we can understand and try to translate in some way, right? Like you might not understand, I don't know what, laces out. Like that might not mean anything to you. I don't know why that came to mind. But you know, there might be a song about shoelaces that you remember, and that's going to be how spirit might try to get to you.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe that was like a terrible example.
No, I think it's a great example because there are those obscure things that come up, or like I'll say things. I have no idea why I'm saying it to the person. I was reading for a client the other day, and very seldomly do I ever look at a family and tell them your loved one is not stuck. Your loved one is not in a bad place. Their loved one had departed this earth through suicide. And so I was like, I have no idea why I'm saying this to you, but I just feel like I need to tell you they're not stuck. They're not being punished. They're not in a bad place. And the mom she starts crying, and I was like, I hope that was okay to share. And she goes, well, no, that yesterday I was talking to another family member, and they said that because of the way that he left this earth, he was stuck or being punished. And so they will channel little thing. I don't do full trance channeling. That's not really my jam. I respect people who do it, and I think it's so cool. But sometimes like those little things will come through that they'll channel through me to share. And it's important usually. So I just say it, even if I don't know what it means, you know?
So do you have a sense, did Jeff share, like, does your brain mapping look similar to like Laura Lynn Jackson, or I'm trying to think who else had their brain mapped by him when I talked to him.
A bunch of Forever Family Foundation mediums, and a lot of them have that same, like the brainwaves are operating between that 7 and 8 hertz frequency, which is the same frequency of the earth, funny enough. So I think there's like something there. But he said that's a similarity. He said that everyone has kind of like different things that triggers or different things that show up. My brain does show signs of brain damage while I'm giving readings. Like whatever that meter is shows brain damage while I'm giving readings, which is kind of, which I think also is similar to Laura Lynn Jackson, if I'm remembering correctly.
And probably many of the brains of these autistic, like I'm curious what he finds in many of the autistic kids that I know he's been researching too with Kai.
What's so fascinating to me is that everybody's brain is different and everybody receives differently. So there are some similarities, some things that are different, but he did say, and this is just a gold star for me. He did say, he was like, if I were looking for certain things, you would have those things that I would be looking for. And so there aren't like specific, like, oh my God, this means you're a medium. But there are certain things that the brain does that is kind of common. So
right. I mean, it makes sense though. Like, right, there's certain people whose brains are more wired for math, more wired for English, more wired for being able to like put together a car. There's certain people who could never do that. Me, right? And so our brains are wired differently. So why wouldn't this just be a different potential wiring of the brain? And like anything, you can train someone. I mean, you can train someone to be good at math. You can train someone to figure out how to put together a car. You can train someone to be a medium. It's just not necessarily their brain's natural state.
Yeah. And what was funny is he was like, a lot of you have ADHD. And I was like, that, I resemble that remark, sir. Like I have always had like what I experience as ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like really affirming for me. I've also worked with, she recently departed, but Pat Longo. I feel
you're the second person this week that's brought her up.
Her book, The Gifts Beneath Your Anxiety, so good. It's a book that I recommend to a lot of my clients. I don't believe that every manifestation of anxiety, ADHD, or depression is psychic ability, but I do believe that there are people who experience it severely and it is psychic ability, or it is
right. You're tapping into some sort of different energies that you don't. I mean, I always talk about this experience when I first started to be able to differentiate like my anxiety from the anxiety I was picking up in the world. And I had to walk. It was my kids' school and I was doing a school tour for incoming parents who were applying. It's a lottery-based school. And the level of anxiety was so intense. I felt like I couldn't breathe.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, this is not mine. It was so clearly not mine. Sometimes it's harder to differentiate because you're like, I might also be anxious right now. But this was so clearly not mine. And I was like, oh my God, this is intense. This is a lot.
Yeah. So in the work that I did with Pat, like, we talked about how my ADHD is connected more so to my ability to connect. And Jeff had validated the same thing. So in a way, like all of this information just helped me feel like so normal versus like, oh my gosh, I'm just this like weirdo who has all of these things going on. Instead, it was like, oh my God, this is just how I was made. So that was really this whole process for me, and mediumship in general has just been very life affirming.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think too, when we talk about alignment, like you are now completely aligned. Like this is your soul's work. And I think not everybody is meant to be a medium. This is Bob's book, The Medium Explosion. His first book, I think, was all about like, why are there so many mediums right now? Yeah. But it is a tale about alignment and stepping into and being honest with yourself about who you are and what you're here to do. And you can explore mediumship, but that doesn't mean you're meant to become a medium in this way.
Honey, working with the public is a whole different ball of wax, right? It's like kind of like just because somebody is good at giving advice doesn't mean they need to go be a therapist.
Right. It's a lot of school. There's a lot of school there.
Yeah. I mean, if one of my friends gets the sniffles, I'm like, hey, you got a cold. I'm not going to be a doctor though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. You can step back and sort of give a broad brush stroke to it. You mentioned something earlier I want to touch on, which is this loved one that was stuck in the in-between that someone was afraid of. What are your thoughts on kind of bad spirits or dark entities and how do they exist? If people are kind of starting to practice mediumship, which I don't recommend people just do willy-nilly. I think, learn. It's like you said, you're not just going to start hanging out your shingle and being a doctor. Like this feels similar to me in this way. But can you speak a little bit to that, like bad energies, dark energies?
I love this question because this is something that I'm currently kind of going back and forth with myself and picking apart and asking myself, what do I believe? Because I think, for me, it's important to stay curious and question. I have friends who do a lot of paranormal work, or they dive into other vibrational energies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know where I stand with it or how I feel about it. I do believe in the continuation of consciousness. Like that I absolutely believe in. I do believe that what I feel for myself to be true right now is that the things that people feel as the quote unquote bad energy or low vibrational energy is more so an energetic signature that's left behind versus a place being haunted by a spirit or a thing. You know what I mean?
So it could more be their energy that existed while they were in a human body. Like that sort of thing?
Like a signature of something that, like, let's say somebody goes somewhere that's haunted and there was like, I don't know, like a mass murder there, something tragic that happened. I think sometimes that's a signature of that energy that's left behind, not necessarily a discarnate spirit that's hanging around.
Yeah, that makes actually a ton of sense to me.
So I'm not going to say that it doesn't exist because I don't know that to be true for myself. I just haven't had evidence of it. Now, I'm not trying to invite that in. So if my spirit guides are listening right now, which they are, please do not send me a crazy ass spirit later. But
yeah, you're going to like DM me later and be like, we are not inviting that into our spaces. We're just trying to understand it.
But I do believe that when we're sensing energy that's outside of ourselves, our human brain can kind of jump in and be like, I don't know what this is. So it's obviously a demon, right? Like, I think like that's, so I think it's important to kind of be curious, to stay curious and use discernment. But I'm not saying I don't believe, I'm just saying I haven't seen it for myself.
What do you, I want to talk a little bit also about spirit being beyond signs. Yeah. So I love in the book all the different ways that you talk about spirit coming in, but I've talked about this before, and I want to help people really understand how spirit message can come through, maybe not through a medium per se, but in your own life, beyond just the signs of, oh, there's a cardinal outside my window or a butterfly flew by at just the right time, which are all great and really can be really affirming and meaningful. But what do you mean beyond that?
For me, I'll give you an example. Today, I was kind of having a moment. I needed some help. I asked my guides, I'm like, send me someone that can help me.
And here I am.
And here you are. But also I got a phone call from a mutual friend of ours, Marianne DeMarco. And
who I had on the show and we both love.
Yeah. And we had this amazing phone call. It was literally just what I needed. And so I think our loved ones in spirit, our guides, our angels, they'll work through people here in this physical world. I think sometimes it comes through as ideas. I think sometimes it will come through, I think it'll come through in so many different ways if we're open to it. So I'll give you an example. There's something that I'm working on for next year. And, it's kind of a new way of doing what I do live because I'm a tour of the country right now. And I've been in a certain type of venue that's been great, but I want to explore another type of venue.
Yeah, you've been in smaller venues.
I've been in comedy clubs specifically.
Right.
And while, yes, I am funny, it's just because I'm gay and have trauma, not because I'm a comedian. And I believe there's some really good levity to this work. I don't think it has to be all serious, but at the same time, like I want to explore some other things. And so I just got this nudge, reach out to this person. And this person and I, like we've talked like maybe one time. We don't have this like great big relationship, right? So I was just like, okay, cool. So I just sent that DM, and then this person has come through with so much help and wisdom and guidance, and it was just what I needed. But I think me a couple of years ago, before I kind of started this journey and being open, I would have been like, no, I'm not reaching out to that person. Or if I did, I would have just credited it to that person, not necessarily the universe or my loved ones coming in to help. And I think we do that sometimes. We just go like, we don't connect the dots sometimes, which is okay. Our guides, our loved ones, they'll still show up and help us. But it becomes so much more meaningful, I think, when we do start to connect those dots, or even just ask, like I was struggling earlier. Someone came through with some help. could that have been divine intervention sending me the right person to deliver the right words for the help that I needed?
Well, and what to me is so amazing about this is that once you start to think and see the world in that way, it becomes the way you think and see the world. And so it's not about saying like, I mean, I think some people are like, oh, and I thought that was a sign and that was a sign. And you're like, that's like a train wreck. Like that might not be that might be you living in some sense of denial about what's really happening. Particularly people might say that in like relationships. Oh, I saw this sign and we're supposed to stay together even though the relationship is terrible or whatever it is. But what you're talking about is really this notion of manifestation. It's, you're putting this energy out there. You're asking for help. It's sort of a prayer, even if you're not, praying to something. You're getting into the space of openness, of willingness for help. And then things kind of come together for that to happen.
Yeah. And it's a reminder that we're not alone in this. Mm-hmm. That while sometimes we can feel alone, like this morning, I felt so alone.
I'm going to give you my number. You can text me anytime.
Perfect. But it happens, right? Like, I think that's I think sometimes people think just because you're a medium or a therapist or whatever, that you've just got it all figured out. Honey, I do not. I have 2 therapists and an old witch that reads my tarot. Like I've got, I'm set.
And you say this in the book, the healers need healers. And
I don't trust somebody who doesn't have a healer, who hasn't gone. I'm not saying we always have to be in that mode of healing.
Right.
But I don't, it would kind of be like if there was a surgeon, brilliant surgeon, maybe it's the best surgeon. Are they going to do surgery on themselves when their time comes? I hope not. So, I have such respect for people who show up and yes, they can help others, but also they need help too. Mm-hmm. There's this weird expectation that I feel like gets put on psychics and mediums especially, or just healers in general. That's like, you should have everything figured out.
Right.
Nay, I sure do not.
Because you're part of your human experience is figuring it out.
But I know where to get help. Mm-hmm. And if I don't, I just ask my team, I let them figure it out. And so it's that reminder that we're not alone. And that was the reminder this morning with that call from Marianne, like, oh, I don't have to do this alone. Mm-hmm. I've got physical help and non-physical help.
Yeah. And I always think of it like in The Wizard of Oz, at the end when they get to Oz and like the lion is like, they're all getting their different parts put back together. That's how I think of the different, like the various aspects of my healing team is like, okay, what is my soul calling for at this time that I need to help me heal or work through, it is a set of tools. It doesn't always have to be one type of thing.
Right. And what worked for me a couple of years ago may not be my jam now.
Right.
But it doesn't mean it won't be again later.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was in talk therapy for 17 plus years. And then I started working with a spiritual psychologist healer. And then I've done plant medicine and sound healing and breath work and now body work. Now that's more where I feel like I can get that release and it cycles and I'm in a group and I'm like, it's all of these things that you do to continue. I think too, when you're doing work like you're doing where you're holding people's energy in that way and their dead loved ones' energy is coming through you, you got to take care of the whole vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so with you. And do I think like the average everyday person needs to go through the deep dive that I've been going through? No, but the average person isn't working with people in this capacity every single day, right?
Right.
So it's like, I meditate every day. Do I recommend that for everyone? I mean, it'd be great, but do you have to? No, just do it consistently, however that looks, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that's been the fun part of this journey, is giving myself that grace to kind of explore those modalities. Like EMDR was such a life-changing thing for me. And I'm so grateful for that experience. And I write a little bit about it in the book. Mm-hmm. And, is that for everyone? I don't know, but it was great for me.
Right.
So,
right. And it helped you work through and move through a specific trauma.
Yeah.
The traumas that you had experienced.
Yeah. But I just think the marker of any decent modality, whatever it is just something that's going to bring you back to yourself.
Mm.
You know, I was watching this video. I very seldomly get to the point where like I want to leave a comment on a video on the internet because it's just not, I don't want to give social media that power over me. But I was watching this video of this woman who was like, I had 400 psychic readings and over like 3 years. I was like,
Oh
girl,
my
I was like,
God.
doing an average on that. I was like, that's too many. That's a lot of readings. But she was like, I did 400 readings over the course of like 3 years. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need any readings because you have all the answers within you. And I wanted to like, I didn't comment, but my take on that is, but they all brought you to that realization that you had that within you already.
Mm.
So whether it was 400 or 4,
Mm-hmm.
they did their job. They brought you back home to yourself.
Right. Yeah. Also a good way to probably for her to get clicks. Because you're like 400 readings. Who does that?
There are times, honey, where there are videos where I'm like, you're just trying to upset people. And I'm one of those people. And here I am watching this entire video just mad. And you're just collecting a check.
Right. An hour in and YouTube just sent them, $500.
Totally.
Let's talk for one quick minute because I know you have to go soon, right?
We're good. We can keep going.
We're good. Okay. Abundance.
Yeah.
How do you think about abundance? Because people usually think money equals abundance.
Yeah. I used to be that person. I used to think that the only way that I could feel abundant was based off of my bank account.
Mm.
And I think especially in Western culture, especially in like America, like that's kind of what we're just kind of taught is you're worth what's in the bank account.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and I'm so not like a political person. You will never find me making political comments. That's not my lane. But I'm like, girl, our own country's in debt. Like, why am I worried about my student loan debt or my car debt? Like, girl, we're trillions of dollars in debt. Our credit score ain't that great. Like, why am I? How dare you judge me?
You don't even live in Chicago. Ours is a disaster.
Right. I'm like,
how dare you? And we're like junk bonds, whatever that means.
Right. So for me, it was reprogramming some of that. And abundance, just the definition of abundance is an overflow.
Hmm.
And so for me, it's looking at, I think it's very easy, and myself included, to see what we don't have or to see what's missing. Or the lesson for me lately has been like the 9 of Cups, which in tarot is, which is like all of our cups are full, but that one. And it's like that constantly kind of searching and looking. And I think, 5 of Cups kind of speaks to this. And, where it's like the guy's got 3 cups that are full and 2 are knocked over and he's only focused on the ones that are knocked over. But for me, an even bigger lesson is that 9 of Cups, which is like, I've got all these things, but there's that one and I'm hyper fixating on that one thing.
Mm.
And for me, it's been shifting from who cares about that one? Like I've got these other 9 and this feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
And, and so even if it's not necessarily always finances, it's like, where do I have I have an abundance of love in my life. I have so many people that I can call or reach out to. I mean, I don't, but I do if I need it.
You can.
Or yeah, I mean, we can find an abundance of everything. We can find an abundance of problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's really been a journey of where do I have a lot of something and how can I just enjoy that? And one of my favorite teachings from Abraham Hicks is that, if you're looking for an abundance of something and you can't find anything, just start doing this. Just start breathing. There's an abundance of air that we can focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me in abundance, it's been more so a reframing how I look at it and not associating it with money and intentionally disconnecting it from the thought of it being money.
Mm-hmm. And that energy of abundance that you talk about.
Yeah, because the abundance is, here's the interesting thing is that energy is inherently neutral. Mm-hmm. And so abundance is neutral. It's just, what do you have a lot of? Have you a lot of problems or do you have a lot of great things in your life? And how are you choosing to channel that energy of abundance?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's been, shifting that focus from here's a lot of the things I could probably complain about, and let's focus on the things that feel good.
And how much do you think kind of clearing? I had this really interesting thought yesterday about, it's almost like spirituality. It's like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it feels like right now, spirituality feels like it's at the top, but it feels like it should be at the bottom. And yet we can't kind of, so many people, and I'm starting to see this in my practice, is people kind of clear out some of those like psychological issues that then they're addressing their spirituality. And I'm thinking, okay, we got to like inverse this. But it seems like for you too, like that's what happened is once like the spirituality was there, right? Lisa Miller always says it's not about, you don't need to like learn how to be spiritual. You just need to find your way back to that part of yourself, which was always there for you. But then you had all this trauma and psychological garbage that came along. And then spirit was there, but quiet. And then once you were able to clear out that psychological, then spirit kind of came back full force.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like at the time when all of that stuff is happening, my first thought is not, oh my God, what's the lesson that the universe can teach me about this? Instead, it's like, oh my God, my family has rejected me. I'm out on the streets. Like, I'm not going for the spiritual meaning in that. I'm just trying to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, now I have that beautiful gift of those lessons, what I learned from that, how I grew from that. But I think that if I'd had that in my toolbox of even just that knowing or belief of I can do what I want with this, or I can create something really beautiful from this, then I think, I think it would have, I don't like playing the coulda, woulda, shoulda game, but just, but I do think that it could have made things for myself a little bit easier. Because I while I believe it's wonderful that we get lessons from certain things in the moment, sometimes it's hard to reach for that.
Right.
But
and it feels invalidating for someone to say, well, what are you, what is this here to teach you? It's like, screw you. Like, I don't need to learn some of these lessons, and some of life's lessons are excruciatingly painful.
Yeah. But I think that spirituality kind of being the basis of things, or that being able to lean into some of those practices, has helped me show up and just be a more compassionate human for people who are going through really hard times. Like, I'm not going to look at them and be like, oh, God, just manifest a better life.
Right.
What do you mean? Instead, it's helped me show up in those moments of being able to hold that space of empathy and compassion and for myself as well. I was listening to, it's really funny. I was listening to, Madonna's interview on the Jay Shetty podcast. And
I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big podcast on her spiritual practice with Kabbalah, which I thought was really cool to listen to. And because that's a side of Madonna we don't really get to see a whole lot.
I know.
And she talked about how Kabbalah has just helped her find meaning, or be able to, when things are going on in life that are really challenging, that she has found a spiritual connection to those things when it's happening. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds so nice. I would love a life lesson and just be able to lean into my spiritual practice when that's happening. The next day, like, shit hit the fan.
Oh, right. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I was like, oh, just remember that Kabbalah episode. But it is true, though. And I do think that spiritual tools, just like therapeutic tools or any other tool, are there to help us when we're in the moment or in the throes of things that are really tough and difficult. I think sometimes what can be dangerous is when we use them to spiritual bypass pain that's happening, and we refuse to look at pain. And that pain, or feeling that pain, is a very spiritual thing, because that can be a big catalyst for growth. I don't think that means we deserve to feel it. I don't think that means we did anything to bring it upon ourselves sometimes.
But it does mean we need to feel it if it's presenting itself.
Present with it, and be where we are.
Well, Travis, you are awesome.
You're
I
awesome.
was so, when that email came through asking if you could be on my show, I was like, I think I responded within 2 seconds. I was like, was it the agent or the publicist for the book? I'm like, you just made my day. So again, today you have made my day by being here. I'm so excited. Your new book, Are You There, Spirit? It's me, Travis. So amazing. Is out. I'm not. This will air around the time, so it is either out. It's coming out November 4th.
November 4th. But you know what's funny is I'm getting pictures from people who their books are already arriving that pre-ordered. Like some of them got shipped, which is totally cool. So like, yeah, by the time someone's hearing this, it might be out. It might be available somewhere in the wild.
Well, we always try. I'm trying to drop it. I don't know what day is November 4th.
Tuesday.
Okay, so we'll drop this Monday, November 3rd. So your book will come out tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Well,
on the 5-year anniversary of doing readings, which is crazy to me.
November 4th or November 3rd? November 4th.
Like, yeah, that first week of November was the very first time I started giving readings, which is like for money, like not like, you know,
right.
Like, which is like, just again, like the synchronicities of.
I know. I've had so many people on who've been like, and my book came out on this date, like totally, because the book pub's dates are totally random, right? Like they kind of just.
Yeah, they told me when it was coming out, and
right.
I at the time didn't even make the connection. I was like, okay, cool, love that day. Like that's my favorite day. What do you mean? And then I'm like, it was really just like 2 weeks ago where I was like, when did I start doing this? And I was like, I went back in my appointment booking system because I've used the same system the whole time, and I was like, holy smokes, it's the same week. Like that's crazy.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love when things like that happen. Travis, if people want to learn about you, where can they find you? Are you taking your show on the road in Chicago anytime soon? Because I'll come.
Well, you know, I will. I was just in Schaumburg, but I'm trying to like get back there. So, but people can find me at travisholp.com. I am Travis Warrior Unicorn on all socials. So you can find me on all the places, all the things. I'm on Substack. You can find me.
Substack? What are you doing over there?
Instagram. I write some things here and there.
Okay.
You know, I'm in all the places.
Yeah.
I'm starting a YouTube. So like that's coming.
Are you going to be doing readings on YouTube? Are you going to be like, what's his name, the medium? Tyler? Henry?
I don't know. When I say I'm starting, I literally just was like, oh, I just need to start a YouTube. So like it's coming.
We're manifesting it right now.
Yeah.
Well, Travis, thank you so much. You're awesome. Your energy's awesome. And I'm glad you got the intuitive hit to be here because this has been a joy for me. So thank you so much.
Thank you, friend.
Like what you heard today and want to hear more? Wondering what comes next and what it all means? Head over to Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere you get your podcasts and hit subscribe. Also, if you could take a minute to rate and review my podcast, I would really appreciate it. Stay tuned as we continue to explore life, death, and the space between.